Halloween. Someone who's wearing headphones hates me. Probably anonymous. I don't ever wear headphones listening to YouTube. Can't stand that shit. Put on speakers and I'll just find some place where people aren't. That's kind of been my whole thing, like ever in my life. Just find a place where people aren't. It's easy to do. I like that on my lighter I can spark it on my helmet. That seems like a useful thing. It's damn near 4 in the morning and I should probably go to bed. I've had a long day. Well, I'm trying to unwind and smoke and whatever. Feeling better now that I fucking not as sick as I was. This blueberries is shit. Hey, my own live thing is up. Hello, people. Let's cross the streams. Live thing is up. Hello, people. God damn. I think I'm going to waste $150 on a Geissler bayonet mount. I say waste, it gives me an ability to put the bayonet that I already have onto the gun that I like. My other gun is kind of like a ghetto jack of all trades SPR kind of a thing. I hate this shirt because the side of my tit comes out and it's fucking annoying. I don't know why they make women's shirts like that. I think it's because men like side tit. That's my theory. I like my pirate hooker helmet. I think it's pretty dope. Fucking still, I thought I got that shit out. I got something in my hair at the restaurant, and I fucking went and scrubbed just this part of my hair because I didn't want to have to wash all this shit. Just cut that shit out or something. It kind of sucks having long hair. It is what it is. Hi, puss boy. Puss boy. Puss boy. Again. I like the battery box on this thing. This is a Essie Knives Altoids tin. I cut some Ranger bands on it, which are just bicycle inner tube. I've got one of those somewhere around here that you just take a knife and cut out as wide of one as you want. These are, somewhere between a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch when you cut them, and they stretch a little smaller. I dig it. I have paper towel in here with the batteries just to keep them from rattling around. And it's an extra set of batteries for AAAs, CR123s, and AA's. Because we got them all. So why not? I need to figure out a way to integrate comms into this. I've got Peltors. So that's on the list of things to do. I don't look forward to that because I don't want to have to wear my helmet every time I want to wear my cans. And I don't know how we're going to solve that one other than having two things. I don't want to have two sets of that. The Peltors I have were $300. And I don't want to buy a second set of those. Hey, we have a viewer. It's probably smoke. We lost him. Who we got? Oh, I think this thing with the cans on it would be pretty cool. A lot of people don't get that what I'm building here is superpowers. I have a, sorry, it really is fucking backwards. I'm better without looking at that thing. The red light under night vision might as well just be a giant fucking spotlight. And you got this thing has two modes, and that's just handy. Once you add in a fucking PVS 7 to see in the dark with, and a set of Peltors to this, like, it's worth having. If you can get it, it's worth having. And I've got enough of it that I'm going to figure out a way to get the Peltors on this thing somehow, I hope. Or maybe even just wear them at the same time. That's what I would prefer to do, is keep my Peltors separate, rigged separate, and just have a way to integrate it. They make some things that are for airsoft or whatever that adapt to helmets that are on eBay cheap. I might get those, fuck around with those, because I could pretty easily put my Peltors onto a set of those. My other thought is get a real deal set of Peltor pop things for their rails, and just figure out a way to fucking bolt them to the side of this fucker. The only thing with doing that is this fucking plate is right where one of those would go. That's not that big a deal. It could get moved up. I just don't desire to do that. It needs to be there because this thing is heavy. This plate of steel on the side of the helmet balances out this giant ass light. Just like this battery box can be moved back here and balance out a PVS 7, which I'm going to get a Naruto, so I'm going to get that pretty soon. I'm going to get the titanium Naruto mount, the Gen 2 one, whatever that is. I think it's like around $90 on eBay. It's the mount that this bracket is for. I got that bracket because it's cheap and light. This whole thing is cheap and light. The main thing that you should know about running night vision is that everything is a balancing act, and everything you bolt to your noggin, you're going to have to bolt something on the other side of the helmet. So, like, this thing to hang a fucking PVS 7 off of is, you're going to have something off the ass end. Whether it's fucking an MS-2000 strobe, or shotgun shells, or fucking the battery box, or counterweights that they make to go back there. Like, technically that's kind of what this thing is. This is just a pimp-tastic one. There's like 75 of those in existence, something like that. There's less than 100 all told with the different variations and shit I make, because I made a couple of different variations of it. It's dope. I've got a few of those sitting over there, and I think I owe one to someone, and I want to make sure that that's done. I need to remember who that is. Sorry. The spoon is just fucking hilarious. Like it really, you know, it makes it look like you fell out of some fucking like wizard Vietnam thing. Like I don't know, it makes it look out there. I like to think of it as like helmet scrim. It's useful helmet scrim. That's what a lot of this is. This breaks up the outline of my helmet quite a bit. I'm gonna do more stuff to add into that too. That's a coming modification is going to be some sort of a scrim that I'm going to work into the holes around this, just to break it up even more. I want to figure out what's it called? I want to figure out the chin strap first, and figure out the comms integration too, because like the Peltors I have are the Bluetooth Peltors, so Bluetooth's not a secure thing or whatever, but my main source of comms is my phone. Uh, Short of that, they can be wired into other shit and or have Bluetooth adapters to other shit. Like I'm gonna look into that. I have not even gone down the radio rabbit hole yet because, to be honest, I can't even convince Blazer to fucking, you know, be serious. He's going through a rough time too. Like I think we all are. I think the country is going through a rough time as a whole. I think my flag behind me says it all. It's my painting basically. It's Crom's Rebel Navy. I was pretty tired when I started this, and I hit that weed pin a couple times. And God damn, a lot of weed. Um, I like this helmet. It's getting there. It's definitely getting there. As we start to get more tech bolted to it, I'm going to be more impressed with it. Hopefully, I can get that in a Rotos mount soon, just to have it, because that's one of the things that like there's a handful of things for this that are like have to spend money on. There's no other option. They cost what they cost. That Naruto's mount is pretty much one of those things. The Naruto's mount and the PVS 7. Oh, we have someone there now. I got to thinking about different things. I was lost in thought there for a minute. Uh, the things that I was thinking about was basically different avenues to get that PVS 7. That's, a significant chunk of change. And I looked at PVS 14s too. They're basically the same price. I don't know which route I'm really going to go. I lean PVS 7 heavily because I know the ins and outs of that thing backwards and forwards. You get both eyes. You can't go weapon mounted with it, and that is a significant drawback, but you get both eyes. Ideally, I'd like to buy both. Like I think the most budget setup for night vision would be both a PVS 14 and PVS 7, because then you have full, heads up, look around, walk around night vision, dual tubes. It's just budget dual tubes. And then for rifle use, you get a red dot, you put the 14 behind it, you're good to go on that, and then you can just pop up the 7 and use that. So if you have the laser, use the laser with the 7. That makes sense to me. That's why I think I'm going to get a 7 first, and then at some point down the road, I'm going to worry about a 14. This is shit that, like, I wish I had squirreled some of this shit away. I didn't worry about it because I didn't think World War III was really going to happen there for a minute. I kind of just wanted to, like, fucking chill and have a real life and be a real human being and have a girlfriend, and don't get that. not for very long anyway. I'm glad I had it while I had it. Sorry, cat. It's one of those, like, if you find somebody you like, hang on to them while you can. Because they're not going to last forever, probably. That's just the nature of the world today. Oh. Oh. That's better. I'm excited to get night vision again. I haven't worn it in, let's see. The last time I wore night vision was in 2017. It's been a while. Like, I haven't even had a helmet. That's why I've been having to build one. My old rig was one of these that I bought on eBay that somebody had already cut for comms, which is something I still need to do. And I finally have the stuff to do that. I don't want to fucking cut plastic with a Dremel tool. It's not impossible. It's easy to do. It's not fun. And it's going to be a pain. And I really need to get the way that I'm going to bolt those on before I do anything else. And this is like, if you're going to not spend any money on a helmet, really, I think these Protects are a good way to go, because it kind of allows you to just drill holes in them wherever you need shit and bolt shit wherever you need shit. It's not ballistic protection, but, like, nothing about this has anything to do with protecting your head, other than, like, it has some padding in it in case you bump into shit, because bumping into shit happens. If you can get a ballistic helmet, it has advantages. However, all of this shit weighs a lot, and all of this shit would be bolted to my helmet regardless. So adding a ballistic protection to your helmet, to me, doesn't make sense. It's a lot of weight. If you're in someplace where you're going to get, like, shelled, like, helmets are legitimately better than they used to be. There are helmets that will stop pretty damn close rifle rounds now. They're a couple grand. They're Cry helmets. I never owned one of those. I played with those a lot, though. My boss had a fuck ton of shit like that. I was always the retard playing with the old ghetto shit in the corner. And the main reason I did that was I wasn't happy with any of the helmets that were on the market. For the money you spent on them, it was a lot of money. The original Protec I spent $100 on eBay because it already came with some mods to it. I'd already been painted gray. They cut it for comms, and they changed out the chin strap. They put pads in it. It already had a fucking widget. Basically, someone had pretty much done this to it, but without some of my cooler mods. And I think that's kind of cool that I could probably get way more than $20 for this thing now. Just like throwing this on eBay. Somebody'd want it. I'm not going to sell it. I love it. Especially the back. Back's the best part. It's fucking like the G-Whips patch. Makes it look like some like Omaha Beach fucking Army Ranger fucking shit. But it's nothing. It's like nothing real. That's what I love about like my Space Marine and Vietnam vibe or whatever. It's like it's not really meant to give a military vibe. It's I think we're gonna be in World War III, and I want to survive and or resist the communist occupation, depending on exactly what's going on. So this is like a survival helmet. That's why it has random shit on it. Like it has a spoon and a lighter, because like I don't know, it seemed like things I could add. The spoon has come in handy, believe it or not, because I've had this with me places and I've needed a spoon, and I need to get my. I can't decide, and I have two people watching me. I can't decide on Peltor's integrated into this or Peltor's separate, and like I have a good system to like work them together. It would be way, way cheaper to do the work together thing and just like be able to pull a couple of pads and run this thing over the whole thing. Because my Peltors have a fucking headband and shit already. The other option, though, would be to bolt them into the side of this thing, but then it's anytime you need to wear your fucking ear protection, which are also my headphones, you have to wear all this bullshit. I guess in theory you could pull them on and off of those things. It's just a cord run through the helmet, but like that seems like a pain. I guess the real answer is to integrate them and buy a replacement set of Peltors, because that thing's older than shit anyway. It's already on its second headband. So, and it's getting to where honestly it needs another one, and that would fix that. Those things are fucking expensive though. If you've not priced Peltors before, the ones I got were the tactical 500s, I think, or tactical 600s. It's the Bluetooth fucking headset one they make. They're really good. I like listening to music on them while I'm doing shit. Knowing Peltor, it probably is why I'm like deaf. Thanks, Peltor. Ranger fucking Rick or whatever. Everybody who's fucking in the military got issued this fucking Peltor earbuds, and that's all I see now are fucking lawsuit things about that. And what's funny is I used a fuck ton of those. I always used the green side though, that like actually blocked off your hearing. And I think this lawsuit is about the yellow side, which it was just open. Like it didn't protect your hearing at all. I could tell that by wearing them. You know, yeah. If you were reasonably smart at all, I don't think you lost much hearing to those. That's my thought. Unless there's more to that I don't know. I'd like to hear the court details of that. Oh, other night vision shit is like adapting your weapons for night vision can be an expensive proposition. Because, like, first off, you're going to need a way to passively aim, which means a red dot sight. With a PVS 7 and a red dot sight, you can do that fucking like line up the red dot to the PVS 7 game. That's doable. I've done it. I wouldn't prefer to do that. And the solution that I have for that is at close range. Crimson Trace makes a red laser for a rail that's like $130. Crimson Trace shit holds 0, and it's red, so you can see it in infrared like a motherfucker. It'll be like a fucking spotlight. No, it won't like a spotlight. It'll be very bright and like a pinpoint. You will be able to see it, and it for the money, I think that's your best option on the civilian market. The mill stuff is better. The civilian versions of the mill stuff can be good, but they're a lot of money for really the same capability as the red laser, but it's invisible. I wish Crimson Trace would make just an IR version of their rail laser. They should. There's a bunch of guns that you could use that on. The thing I used to do for pistols back in the day was I had a set of Crimson Trace grips with IR lasers built into them for a Beretta and a P226. And one of the two of those was always my sidearm because it was the best gun for night vision with that laser. Red dot sights can be pretty good, but the laser makes it better. And my 1911 already has a red laser on it. And again, I wish that was infrared. If I could get like somebody to change out the diodes, I might look into that. That's something that you can have done. Change out any colored laser diode for an infrared one. And when you do that, you could probably have them bump the power. And like that's half of the thing is really you want mill powered lasers are better, and in reality, the mill ones I think aren't powerful enough. The stuff that I used to run was 100 milliwatts to like a couple hundred milliwatts. It was some of the hottest shit you could buy, pretty much, and I liked it. And then I had the mill version that I bought for myself, and it was good. It had nice capabilities, but it wasn't as good as the super bad shit. That's everything, right? And after having both of those, I would rather just have the red laser for the money rather than have 10 tiers down from it, because like the civilian powered lasers are zero point 0.7 milliwatts. And that's, compared to 100 it's a big difference. One is a little pinprick of a light that you're looking at, and one is a literal laser beam of death to the target. One's faster to use than the other. That's why, like, the red one, I think, is going to give me the best capabilities for the money, basically. Uh, I'm only going to use it in CQB because anyone who is anyone in today's day and age is probably going to have fucking night vision, right? So why would you, as a civilian, ever be running a high-powered IR laser? Don't even worry about it. Have some sort of CQB laser, which a red one will work, and then for aiming at distance, I would play the PVS-7 behind a red dot game, and or buy a dedicated PVS-14 for your rifle. Um, the thing you might look at are illuminators, and honestly, the thing that I would do for that is the Surefire. I would get a Surefire M600 Scout for most things anyway, and the Vampire version of that allows you to turn it completely off, which is an advantage, and go white or IR and have a flood. And the IR flood is a useful thing to have. It's more useful than the IR aiming laser. The aiming laser red works. Like, I'm gonna go get that Crimson Trace thing and try it. There might be something to that, but for $130, that is the cheapest way to actually convert your gun to be able to aim with night vision. And what I would do with that is just click it on and leave it on. It's more than likely not got a pressure pad or anything like that made for it. And that's, a lot of the lasers you might find, you might get something that doesn't have a pressure pad for it. In which case, like, again, click it on and leave it on. And like in an extended range gunfight or something like in a more open environment, you're going to be having to worry about other people with night vision seeing your laser and knowing where you are. And this is why, to an extent, it really doesn't even fucking matter if you have a laser anymore. Like the Chinese and the Russians run this shit. We run this shit. Anyone who's going to be here that might be fighting us is going to have stuff that will see all of this. It really levels the playing field a lot. And the other thing I would do is you want laser protective goggles. I haven't gotten those yet. back when I hung out with scary people, we were hooking quad green lasers that would make your eyeballs sizzle in an instant to machine guns so that you can't look at the machine gun. So you might want laser protection goggles. Uh, they make them for different spectrums of light. The ones that you should be concerned about are infrared that you can't see and green. Green is what they do for all of the fucking weapon lasers that are made to blind you. Infrared is all the aiming shit, but a lot of those can be just as bad. I've seen infrared lasers that you can't see that would literally, if I did this at you with it, you would see that pattern for the rest of your life. Don't fuck with lasers. Hi, church boy. Don't look at the people. He's the cutest cat. As far as guns to use with night vision, like that's the AR-15. Pistol wise, Glocks with red dots, or if you're going to do something other than a red dot, those Crimson Trace laser grips in IR are really nice. Or anything with a red laser on it, which means any Crimson Trace laser grip, really. The Streamlight thing I have for my 1911, yeah, it gives you something that works. Regular iron sights and shit, night vision is a thing that you're focusing either out at where you're looking or here. And you never want it focused here. You want to be focused out there. And sights are back here. So you pull your pistol up, you don't see those at all. If you have the red dot, a red dot is such that you're looking through it and it tricks the fucking night vision just like it does your brain, and it sees it as a red dot. So it still works. The lasers obviously work, but you're like iron sights, you'll see little blurs. And like if you have big iron sights and they have tritium in them, you can line those up and like line up the blurs and make shots. But that's training around a problem that really is a technological issue. I don't think that solution to that's really a red dot. I think the solution to that is a red laser. IR laser on the rifle, I think, makes much more sense if you can swing it money wise. On the handgun, you might have night vision, you might not have night vision. It's a handgun. Just get the red one. Don't fuck with the IR at all, unless you're going to be super Mr. McCool or whatever. But they only make those for like the M9 and the SIG and I think the 1911. So you're going to have to pick your gun carefully to get those. Oh, I like Crimson Trace's lasers. They make good shit. It does annoy me a little bit that some of their lasers are like. I had one for a 21A Bobcat Beretta, and it had little foam pads that you had to stick to the batteries. That it only came with one set, and when the batteries ran out, then you had to call Crimson Trace and get more foam pads. That seems stupid to me. Other than that, they're cool though. Other guns that are good with night vision, like rifle wise, I wouldn't really recommend anything unless like you need to go to a different caliber than like 308 or something like that. If you need to go 7.62 by 39, man, you're gonna have a rough time of it. There's not really many good options for that. You basically just need to figure out some way to bolt a laser to that thing in a way that it holds a zero. You know, or like just go with a night scope. I would go with a night scope on an AK more than I would do anything probably. I guess you could, in theory, get some sort of contraption rig that put a PVS 14 and a red dot on an AK. And then, like, M14 is, like, worse than the AK somehow. There's nothing, like, again, you're just bolting a laser to it. It has a red dot on it. Like, this is the answer to every rifle. The AR-15 at this point, we've optimized for that because that's everybody that does this for the U.S. military and law enforcement run AR-15s. That's what all the shit's made for. I wouldn't even worry about anything else. Uh, what else? Night vision shit. Since that's what this is, I guess greetings from the dark side means we're talking about night vision. I just kind of had this helmet in my hand and didn't know what we were going to talk about. I modded this earlier more. I flattened the feet on this thing so that now they grip the helmet. I like it. You guys say anything? Both of you? There's other shit that you could do to the helmet. I don't know what I'm going to do beyond the comms and rigging it out to actually use the 7. Because, like, right now, it's got foam pads in it. And if you try to use this with night vision, it's just going to, like, roll all over your head. I'm going to get a couple of pads from OpsCore and rig out the front end of it so it grips your forehead and doesn't go anywhere. Because, like, that is a key relationship on a night vision helmet. You need this not to move at all. And the OpsCore pad has kind of like a little, I don't know what it's called, silicone, like somewhere between silicone and fabric that this shit's made out of. And it sticks well. It's a harder foam pad. You can order those on eBay or from OpsCore, I believe, and it's just the front pad for one of their helmets. Last time I ordered one, they were like 10 or 20 bucks, something like that. So it's not that expensive of a thing. If you run this without it, you could get away with it, but you will have it go like, like, as opposed to not moving at all. It's a big difference. And it's like, this is like the little shit that you learn running this shit every night. That, you know, I'd hate for someone to get fucking killed because they bought night vision and just threw it on their head and didn't know that, it not doing that is important or whatever. And like it's very difficult to get it locked down. Like the whole thing about replacing this chin strap is made for skateboarding and it, doesn't hold that well. The one I'm replacing it with is a 4-point with a chin hookup that holds this fucker tight. And then you can crank it down. And you need to be able to crank it down, and it needs to have a nape thing on it that you can crank down so that this thing is solid and tight and where it is. It is uncomfortable to wear one of these helmets properly fitted for fucking night vision. Like, that's just the nature of the thing. You're putting your head into a fucking, like, plastic and nylon vise. So in my opinion, the best way to go is to craft your own vise to your own head and make it as comfortable as you can. What are you doing, church? If you can't do this, the other thing I like is the OpsCore Skull Crusher is pretty cheap and pretty awesome. I think those are still like $300, $250. Team Wendy makes some cheap helmets that work. However, Team Wendy is Team Hillary. Like they literally backed Hillary Clinton in the election. They make kayaking helmets and they have tactical helmets. So I wouldn't buy one of theirs. There's all sorts of little widgets and stuff you can have on a helmet. Like I have these little cat eye things on the back of my helmet. They I have some of those that are fucking IR only. So the only light on them that will work on them is IR. These are all spectrums of light. So like they're even bouncing back the screen and shit there. Different things for different uses. I would get some of those. They're cheap on eBay. There's all sorts of little like red lights and indicators and IR strobes and shit. An MS-2000 strobe is a thing worth having. I'm gonna get one of those eventually. Those are fucking $100 now. God damn. You know how many MS-2000 strobes I've fucking sold for fucking $20? I feel like an idiot. Like sad, sad, Rach. I missed out on so much money. And like it's a thing that's worth having, especially if you're with other people or whatever. The ability to take it off, turn it on, and chuck it somewhere, that alone is worth having. Much less the ability to pop it on the helmet and have an IR strobe going off behind you. It's kind of like the friend versus foe recognition shit on the back of this. Like, you don't want to get shot in the back of the head by your own troops. Assuming you have troops, assuming you aren't alone. If you're alone, fuck it, take all that shit off. And like, not everybody has a bunch of friends or whatever. It's probably just me and the cat. I rock it anyway because I think it looks dope. This is like my skater girl rapper night vision. This man. You're just itchy. An itchy hoe bag. I'm gonna get you a flea collar. He's not gonna like that, but I think that's the cheapest solution. Come here, hoe bag. Anyway, you guys have any questions about night vision? Those of you that are still watching this, obviously, if you're interested somewhat. It's one of those things that not a lot of people have played with to the level that I have. I used to sell it. And like one of the things my old boss liked was that I loved the shit enough to just go out and play with it every night, and doing that made me better at selling it. The thing that I like is getting to make something that's mine, which this definitely is. Like, I don't have that much armor or whatever, like Boba Fett or some samurai or some cool whatever. I do have a piece of shit skateboard helmet and a fucking Chinese chest rig. And I've got a couple of different gun belts and holsters and shit too, but like, you know, customize your armor. It's fun. I think really like the Mandalorian culture shit is like one of the biggest gifts to the gun community ever. Ever. Like I'm not sure that Jon Favreau knew what he was doing, but thank you. We're about to have a whole generation of kids that get raised up to fight in fucking World War III that hopefully are watching The Mandalorian and have some sort of sense of some code that matters to me at least. What they show in that show is closer to fucking, you know, all the shit that I like than anything I've ever fucking seen anywhere else other than John Milius movies. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the tyranny of evil men, or by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Got your best car. That's why this is a Mandalorian helmet. Most people don't realize that. It's just, we're like the ghetto version because we can't make our helmets. I like the fucking Terminator No Fate reference too. Like, there's a lot of this backside that, like, I was thinking about G-Webs doing this because I'd already put this patch here. And I was like, this No Fate got added for fucking G-Webs, and then this is like my Rachel cattle brand or whatever. I kind of figure pull this off, throw that up there just to hold it, and then you can use that as a counterweight. This has double A's, CR123s, and triple A's in it. And then there's like a wadded up paper towel around them to keep it quiet, because otherwise this sounds like a maraca. And then it's got Ranger bands and Velcro on it too. The Ranger bands are just, you take a bicycle inner tube and cut a slice off it. It makes a badass rubber band. You're welcome. Now you don't have to buy Ranger bands. They sell Ranger bands in a bag. You can buy a bicycle inner tube. I think they're still cheap. Like, last time I bought one is the one that I still have in a bucket somewhere over there to cut Ranger bands off of, and it was like $5 on eBay. And a bag of Ranger bands from anybody that sells those that I've ever seen wanted like 20 or 30 bucks for them, and there was a lot less than one inner tube in that bag by a substantial margin. And like, if you fuck one up, throw it away and cut another one. The bicycle inner tube is like, when you cut it, it's like 5 or 6 feet long. It's huge. And like, you're cutting a 1/4 inch at a time off of it. How many fucking Ranger bands is that? The other thing you should note is, like, I mentioned this earlier too, camouflaging the helmet. All of this bullshit bolted onto it helps. It no longer looks like a helmet in silhouette. But I'm going to go through and like add in some like fabric that's been broken up and all loose and shit. Probably through here and through here, kind of around all the areas that don't have junk, just to break it up even more. But while doing that, you kind of want to like make sure that you leave some of these high spots, because you don't want, to just fill in the gaps with scrim, because then it just makes it helmet shaped again. Like, the idea is to make your helmet oddly shaped and odd looking so that it doesn't get shot. Okay, what I mean by that is, when I'm looking for people or whatever, or anyone is looking for people, helmet's one of those things that people are looking for. I'm looking for rifles and helmets. It's like, those are the things that usually like stand out, especially helmets. And that's why, like, worrying about how this is camouflaged matters. Like, I wouldn't wear a full ghillie suit. I would have helmet scrim. Other shit. I have an American flag on there. That's just for style. No real point to it. In fact, I think, given some of the things that are on our fucking map, thank God this is over. Thank God, what is over? Nothing is over. You just don't turn it off. Some of the things we could be facing, maybe that should be a Gadsden flag or a who knows flag, but we'll address that when it comes to it. I'm excited to get a PVS 7, but like that's so much fucking work to get that. I talked to people. I can get one for like $2,000 that I know is good, and I can get one for like 1,300 if I'm willing to risk it. Basically, 1,300 is pretty good. I'm reaching out to a couple other people. I'm hoping to get one for $700. And basically, I'm going through good old boy network connections and going, man, I need a favor. And I got a couple of those people that might hook me up still. You'd be amazed what's in somebody's junk pile too for a PVS 7. Oh, okay. Oh. That's why like I like the PVS 7. It's one of those night vision units that most people do not value. And literally the 7 Delta is Gen 3, Gen 4 night vision depending on the tube you get. It's as good as you're going to get, and it's green. Yeah, that's I used to build and sell this shit and do a bunch of shit with night vision. And it's like if there's anything that you should listen to me about, it's night vision, believe it or not. The the things that we did gun wise there was mostly like gunsmithing and selling high end guns. Okay, but like the night vision stuff was everything. And I started playing with it mainly because I had so much access to the shit and I had no way to put it to my noggin. And I tried various things that we had laying around and I didn't like any of them for the price tag that they were. I was very, very broke putting together PVS 14s in a basement someplace. Like, I say I was very broke. I thought I was very broke. I'm very broke now. At that time, I was fucking Jed Clampett. Didn't realize that at the time, but yeah. Yeah. Oh well. I wore high heels to fucking dinner. Ow. I haven't done that in forever. I have to get used to that again. What do you think about these digital thermals? You mean like the Leupold ones? I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. Like, it's a toy. Like, it's maybe a useful tactical toy. Like, when you call something a toy, people get offended. When I say it's a toy, it means if you're using it against the Chinese, they might have shit that you won't see in that. However, hunting, like that Leupold thing, I'm sure will work fine. And even like against the Chinese, the Leupold one, of all of that kind of shit, that's what I would buy. But those are like $600 or $700 last I checked. Uh, unless there's some new Chinese crazy shit. The digital thermal is cool, if I remember right, because it doesn't use germanium in the lenses, so it's like way fucking cheaper. For those not in the know, how thermal works is you have a lens made of solid germanium, which is expensive, and that's why thermal's expensive. It may be germanium glass, but whichever it is, it's got that in it, and that shit is like one of the rarest elements on planet Earth, and it makes you able to see in heat. Technically, like it helps the sensor not have to be the size of this fucking you know chair I'm sitting in and have a refrigerator built into it. The digital shit gets you around all of that. The the coolest thermal I ever saw was digital thermal night vision fusion, and it was a green thing about this big. I've talked about before about aliens and shit. The shit that made me think about space aliens was this. It was in 2014 or 2015, I think. I held this thing in my hand that like, and this was like I said, better part of a decade ago, and I pulled it up and was looking through it and saw through the glass on a reflected mirrored skyscraper 2.5 miles away. I could tell that dude had a red, white, and blue tie on who was looking at me. And then I could focus through the shit and see his thermal signature. And I could focus a little bit and tell you how big his dick was. And it was at that moment that I'm like, this doesn't exist. Nothing about this exists. What the fuck is this? And that's what we were bolting to our fucking Humvees in Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't know how many of those ever happened or what happened with that. Like, as far as I know, that could have been a dead end project or whatever, but like, it was the craziest fucking thing I'd ever fucking held ever. It had, it was literally the size of like a microwave, something. Like, it looked like a Star Wars, Han Solo and Hoth Base and Luke Skywalker with their thing. It looked like one of those, or a projector kind of a thing for like a classroom, somewhere in between there. And it was green, and had a little screen with a thing on the back of it. And you could either hold it up and use it like that, which was its backup thing for when it's detached, or you could mount it to a vehicle. You should know that if you're going to go, fight China, they probably have their own version of that shit or something like it. And if you're going to like be Wolverines, like, they're going to use that shit against you. And this is where like knowledge is power, right? Like, maybe don't go hide out in the middle of the bush. If they can pick out your dick in a skyscraper 2 miles away, which there's ways to hide from that. Go watch Garand Thumb's videos on fucking camouflage and hiding from thermal and whatever. I would defer to him on that. All I know is I've seen shit from 7 years ago that didn't exist, basically, that I'm guessing there's a smaller, cheaper, better version of that now that's on everything. Because that's what we've been doing this whole time. Like, we've been in this pissing match with China and Russia about World War III now for the better part of a decade. And this whole time, like, sitting on those chats talking to E Honda about how, evil the military industrial complex is, I'm trying to explain to him that basically the only reason he's able to bitch about that is because it exists and protects his freedoms. Does it suck? Yeah, it sucks. Did they probably cause 9/11? Yeah, they probably caused 9/11. Sometimes people die. It's like, welcome to the fair or whatever, like A Million Ways to Die in the West. I'm not saying I would kill those people like they did, but if they did it, the reason that they did it is probably something really scary that involves the death of the whole planet that you don't want to know about. That would be my conclusion. There's worse things out there than the fucking federal government in some ways. It's China and Russia. Our issue with the federal government is that we need not have the Democrats in charge of it, really. That's the way I see it. And that'll happen eventually. But for now, you can like work on your night vision and shit, right? And PBS 14 I think is the way most people should go. Really, like I keep talking about the PVS 7 because that's what I'm gonna buy. But in reality, if you want a unit that does the most shit for you, it is the basic bitch fucking thing to go get. It allows you to see in the dark, and it only gives you one eye, but in reality, that does come with some decided advantages. Just it's kind of like the PVS 7. Any of the cheap options, you're going to have to run the fuck out of to be able to do anything in them. The PVS 14's issue for me is that it gives me bad headaches because you're seeing in one eye in green or white, and you're seeing the other eye is normal vision. I don't like that. It's not my preference. You can get used to it. You can run it. I don't think it's good. And there's a lot of people that would tell you that's just because you haven't ran it enough. And I really don't think how every time I ever tried to run it, I ran it to the point I could not stand to have it on anymore because of the headaches. And that point was usually after a couple, 3 hours. Almost took out family of raccoons on the way home. The motorcycle that would have sucked. Yeah, that would have sucked. Um, I need to figure out how to get my Peltors on this thing or in this thing. What do you vote, Night Prowler? On this thing or in this thing? Because on this thing would be like bolted to the side. They pop up and down. They're with it. In it, you could like ditch this thing and still have hearing protection. But I think it would be less comfortable. Earlier, I pretty much came to the conclusion of both. I should definitely do both. That's always the answer, though, isn't it? Like, anytime that you're trying to like buy something or do something in the gun world, the answer is both. That's a sucky answer, right? Like 1911 or Glock. The answer is both. It's a shitty answer, but actually, the answer is to buy a 1911 and a SIG P320 because Glocks suck. It's just my opinion. The SIG P320 sucks too, but it sucks less. And it might shoot you, but I kind of think Glocks might shoot you too. Ow. Fucking feet suck from being on those heels. I like raccoons. Raccoons are cool animals. When you're out at night in night vision, you see all sorts of animals too. Like if you do get night vision, this is my pitch to you really. Save up the money and do this and start enjoying the hobby of it because it is a whole hobby just to go out and explore at night with this shit on. If you can find cool places to do it, it's a whole new world, especially out in the wilderness or whatever. What, the raccoons being in? He says, I don't know if they were inside, they might be uncomfortable. Oh, you mean the night vision headphone thing? Yeah, I'm kind of thinking like you could have this to where some of these pads Velcro in and out. You could pull out the pads, run it over your headset, and then put the pads back in if you wanted to use it again the other way. But then you're going to have this thing moving back and forth on the headset that, like, I don't know. I'm trying to avoid having to spend another fucking $400 on helmet shit. Because that's like really what that is. Buying a second set of Peltors and getting the stuff to bolt it to the fucking thing. That's about $100. So like I'm figuring that's like $400 to get the whole double set out. Oh, sorry about your feet. My feet aren't that bad. Just my socks were killing me. I have little socklets. They're like, you know, I want to get fucked, so I have cute socks on, socks that, you can see my ankles and shit. Glock 40. At one point in time, I would have told you the Glock 40 was a smart answer because, hear me out, you could get a police surplus one for fucking next to nothing. You could buy a 357 SIG and a 9mm barrel for it and make 40 or 357 your go-to calibers. Make 9mm a training caliber. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, especially in the days of Glock 22s, surplus ones going for $250. I made that argument often as being, if you're never going to get a whole bunch of guns, you just want one good handgun that's cheap, that's the one that I would buy. Get you a bunch of calibers, Glocks are good. The two calibers that I would count on out of that gun are 357 SIG and 40, and those will work. They're proven to work. They're better than 9mm in some ways. And the only thing that I would say is better about 9mm is that it doesn't wear out guns as fast, which is debatable. And then the whole fucking cost thing, like basically 40 isn't that big a deal, but 357 SIG is a huge deal. You should always at least have a 40 barrel for your 357 SIG. I always liked Yankee because he liked 357 SIG, and that was one of my favorite cartridges because it has decided advantages over many, many other things. It's a weird bottleneck thing that sucks to reload and it's expensive and yada, yada, yada. Granted, it's also probably the future of handgunning. It's kind of like 5.7, those little bottleneck pistol cartridges. Something's going to come with those in the next century that it's going to revolutionize the industry. And I think it's going to be like, I don't know, 9mm neck down to something, because you're not going to want to make bigger guns, right? And if anything, you want AP ammo. Like, really, the way to do that, though, I think, is the Russian way. The Russians solved the AP ammo thing by making a 9mm bullet with the fucking penetrator in the center of it. It works either way. It's like Russians occasionally are smart. They're brutal, but occasionally, like, it's not like super genius levels of intelligence. It's like the pencil versus the Fisher Space Pen thing. It's common sense. They have some common sense occasionally that I envy. I like having the lighter on the side. This is a come and go lighter. Everyone who ever comes to Tulsa is always laughing at the fact that we have come and goes. I went to college in Missouri. There's come and goes all over there. Like, it's been a thing here too. Like, it's just, maybe that's just an Oklahoma, Missouri thing. I don't know. I could probably sell these things on Etsy. Put some green Velcro on the side and fucking throw some roadie paint on there. Trying to make some swag. Like, that's what these are going to be. Little open L knives. This one's carved, and then this one's just toasted and has really bitch and patina on it. There's pictures of these on Instagram where you can see the patina better. I think the lighters would be cool though, especially like hand painted like that. The spray paint is holding up pretty well to being on the side of my helmet that goes everywhere with me pretty much. Like I say that, like I don't go that many places and I'm kind of fucking with this thing. So I have a helmet bag. The helmet bag goes in the car and it gets drug along. It just does. Calculator. Calculator would be cool, actually. Get like a little solar powered one. That's a really good idea. I'm gonna go find a miniature solar powered calculator. You literally just made me bolt a calculator to my helmet, though. Thank you. You said it was an accident. They always told me that there would never be a calculator everywhere I went. Those bitches were wrong. Solar powered calculator. I hate math. I can do math. Like 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. You know, I'm good at basic shit or whatever. I'm probably good through like algebra. Algebra, I'd have to get out books and remember shit, and I'd pick it up pretty quick. Algebra 2, I'd be cursing at you. Past that, I would really hate your guts. Like, we would no longer be speaking. It would just be me learning math and, like, mumbling things in languages that you don't understand at you. You know, they don't like math. Texas Instruments. It's really big, though. Like, I need a miniature. Mini. I think I'm really baked because I'm having to get really close to my phone. This is how great art happens, though. I'm making like the ultimate nerd survival fucking helmet. Like, I'm going to send Cutlery Lover a picture of the fact I have a solar powered calculator bolted to my helmet, and he's gonna laugh. Probably one of the only fuckers on earth that would. That might work. It's tiny. It's only $15. Solar powered. Itty bitty little fucker. It says 3 by 2. I guess that's inches. I might really do that because you could paint that thing and then paint the numbers and shit. Like take a picture of it beforehand and mark all that shit as to what it is, or maybe just put pieces of tape over the numbers and spray paint the whole thing. You could do that too. I'm gonna get a couple of those. Ooh, it's or best offer. Make offer for quantities. Let's say I want to change the quantity. Well, there's only one available. That sucks. Well, fine. Hmm. I'll have to worry about that later when I'm like not falling asleep at 5 o'clock in the morning. But that looks cool for 15 bucks. There's a lot of these like little pocket ones that I remember like my grandpa and great grandpa having. That would be the dope thing to bolt to the side of it is the grandpa one. It's like black and gold. $1.70. That's the one. Fuck, if you buy multiples, there's bunches. Okay, yeah, yeah. How big are those though? It's an 8-bit calculator. This is perfect. This is the greatest. Like, this is like a hacker helmet, I guess. I never realized I really was kind of a hacker. I am kind of. I just think that so much of the world is going to end that I don't care about their technology anymore. That's why I like blacksmithing. I know, I'm silly. So 8.5 centimeters by 5.5 centimeters. So that's a little over 2 inches by a little over 3 inches. So yeah, it's about the same size as the other one. Maybe a little longer. Maybe it's a little more like 2 by 4 even. A centimeter is sorry, an inch is 2.54 centimeters. So when it was 8 centimeters, that's 2 inches, and you have another one, and then a piece. So that's 3.5 inches, something like that. Math conversions with Ray Ray. Shit that makes the difference between yeah, I don't know. I'm not even gonna say that. If I get 7 of these, no, 7. If I get 4 of these, they're $1.38 a piece. I'm gonna do that. Make camo calculators. That's just swag item now too to go with the fucking lighters. I'm gonna order like 10 of those and make one for me and sell the rest of them. Put Velcro on the back of them and paint them up. Figure out a way to. Might just tape off all of the fucking numbers and the screens with big pieces of tape. Spray the rest of it. Put Velcro on them. It's dope. Say credit card. It's credit card size. Okay, well that would help. I am really dumb. I can sit here and do the fucking conversions for you, but you know, what's sad is I of all of the people that I ever knew growing up that were in the like gifted retards classes, basically where I was, we were all really, really smart, but we were also like I was the most streetwise one. Like my buddy Charlie helped me pass calculus, and he also wandered into traffic occasionally. So, you know, could be worse. I've met people that have what I have, but worse. I do make a hell of a sandwich. Let me find the post. The fastest way for me to find the picture of the sandwich I want to find you is to go to some place that I don't know if anyone's going to recognize it or not. We'll see. Doesn't that look good? It's delicious. I actually am a really good cook. That's a naughty website. There was a message below the sandwich that was very naughty. Just like waiting for a response to that now. Thank you, Night Prowler, for the idea of the calculator, even though that was a typo. That was good. I want to add other like utility functions to this. I think a knife, like maybe one of these small open L's, would be a cool thing to add somehow. You could mod one of these to hell. Maybe sand a flat spot on it and put Velcro. Just like adding shit just to add shit. But I think that's, you find good shit that way too. It's like the lighter, it's come in handy, believe it or not. You just pull it off, use it, and put it back. And again, it's kind of like the spoon. I've been dragging this thing everywhere with me. I've been living with it. And when I ate lunch the other day, I used the fucking spoon. I went to fucking Chick-fil-A, and they didn't give me any silverware with my salad. It is my ride out to Tulsa just to get a sandwich. Yeah. Some sort of survival kit would be cool too. I don't know how I would add that really. Would say a fire kit, but it already has a lighter. Like a lighter is a pretty good fire kit. I could see the argument for a ferro rod, but you could just throw that in the battery box. Like that's what this is to me. This is not a military fighting helmet. This is a civilian survival helmet. This is climbing and search and rescue and anything else you might need to do. And included in that is fucking shooting with it on. So it's a militia helmet. Basically, like I don't want to use that language in today's day and age or whatever because it scares away the straight people or whatever. Scares away the straight people. But yeah, I think you might need to be a militia, and I don't mean to like take over the world or whatever, but just to like protect your community from the shit that is about to happen. The rioting, looting, fucking end of the world shit. Like the shit with Russia in particular. If they nuked enough places, it's gonna get real weird here. Like, there's no way, in my opinion, that Russia would nuke the central United States. They really, really would like to fucking extort shit from us, and one of our chief things that they could extort is oil and grain and shit like that, and all that's from that region of the country. So they're not going to want to nuke central U.S. That's pretty much the plot of Red Dawn. Is the Russians do what is logical, which is that they take out the silos in the Dakotas and a few other key things like Washington D.C. and they took out NORAD and things like that that make those are going to be their first targets. And then they launched a massive fucking invasion, which in reality they could never really have done back in the day, I don't think. However, in the here and now, we've let this fucking like sleeping bear grow. And the real issue is we stopped playing our fucking game in Central and South America quite a while ago. Venezuela in particular. And now we have all these Venezuelans coming here. That's nothing against Venezuelans, except that their country's fucking like a fascist communist dictatorship. And it's friendly to Russia, to be honest. They bought their fucking guns and ammo and everything from fucking Russia, at least. I don't know how friendly they are politically beyond that, but that's. I know the arms world more than anything, so when I see people using fucking guns and bullets from some people, I assume they're fucking friendly more than likely. That's usually a safe bet. You want to like track it down and make sure it's not some crazy shit, but because like some crazy shit's happened. The Afghanis were armed with Chinese bullets by the US military. Go watch War Dogs. I knew those people. Yeah. Why don't you add wonder those tiny Swiss Army knives? Oh, add a Swiss Army knife to the side of it. That would make sense too. You get a lot of utility with that. If I wasn't already adding a calculator to this thing just to be funny now, although I don't know where I'm going to do that. There's places, I guess, but I don't want to cover up this thing on the back because my brother made the decal and I decided to just use it on this. I'm kind of glad I did that because, like, it makes this kind of special. The little Swiss Army knife would be cool. It'd be cooler than this thing. I think that's a waste of one of these. I think you're right. At least get tweezers and scissors and shit out of it. And I could definitely put that right next to the lighter if I wanted to. The really cool part about these helmets is once you've established the fact that Velcro tape works to hold shit to helmets, the world is your oyster. And the other thing is, if it doesn't work with Velcro, you can just drill holes and screw shit to it. That's a Magpul rail, and that shit worked. The patches are all just Velcro taped on too. I think it's a good idea, especially like in today's day and age. At least having the ability to have the shit on your head in a way that's comfortable and fits to you. Even if you don't have the night vision, you should have the helmet. And you should have it rigged for night vision because, again, let's say they deploy the National Guard and the Chinese invade or some shit. There's going to be a lot of shit laying around. You know, and we could even adapt Chinese shit to fit your helmets or whatever. Like, this is where your mind needs to be at, is like, if you can get one of these for $15 right now, go ahead and bolt it on. Oh, and I have stars because they came with the Bravo company stickers. That's the same reason I have Climb, because the Olight and VCM. I have a little O from Olight there too. I covered up the other one with a light. Also, I have a letter 3 with dots, or number 3 with dots, or titties, depending on how you want to look at it. And then this one looks like a dinosaur. I kind of figure, like, why not just be ridiculous? Like, I kind of figure that we're all going to die anyway. Ow. And my foot itches. And I can't get to it. This fucking chair. Like, ow. Half of it's because I sit all fucked up in it, but, like, it sucks. The other one's worse, though, I think. I'd have to pick the right Swiss Army knife because I could just buy one of those that's in a camo pattern, or at least something dark or darker. No more side boob for you. Um, it would be cool to put the Swiss card in, put the calculator over it, like glue those together, like Velcro that on, and still be able to get to all the shit in the Swiss card. I don't know if that's possible. It's like a Swiss card has a lot of cool shit in it. There's several places I could add one of those. Could cover up the Olight thing for sure. That might be where my calculator goes. Well, I've been talking for an hour and a half, and I'm getting tired. Oh, I hope somebody got something out of this about night vision and sandwich making and wearing high heels. Those were the topics covered. This has been our show. My cat's playing with my heels. I'll see you guys later. If you have any questions about night vision, leave them below in the comments in the future watching this shit. I'll do videos on stuff that you guys have questions on that I can answer. Some stuff I don't know. Some stuff is like preference. It's heavily preferential. And like what I'm showing you is what I like to do that I think works for me. And I'm kind of slowly building this thing out because, like, I'm not in that big of a hurry. I don't have a fucking unit yet. I don't have night vision yet. So, as far as a helmet that has lights on it, this thing's good to go. Oh, no need for chin strap or nothing. Really puts this, it slows you down on modding it. But like I was saying, I really should put a, priority on that. Get your gear squared away, survival or otherwise. Like, I like to think of most of this channel as like a survival channel. We, a side boob, what the hell? I kind of figure like we're all surviving the apocalypse together, and like this is just me making shit about the stuff that I'm doing and I like, and now just stuff to try to entertain, I guess. The side boob hour. That's why I don't wear this top that much. Like honestly, I don't enjoy the side boob. We're gonna die anyways. We might as well go out with style. That's kind of my thoughts. It's like I think that's why the world is so crazy now. Is like almost everyone is like, fuck it, bitch. I'm putting a $sign on my shit because I don't know, rap music. Why not? Why not be funny? Literally, some of the shit I've seen in my life, I'm just like, you might as well laugh. Like, it's either laugh or cry. And when I say shit I've seen in my life, I mean like shit with the U.S. government and like fucking 9/11. Everything from 9/11 on is just like a shit show beyond shit show of politics. Hunter Thompson is like spinning in his grave someplace. Not that he's exactly admirable, but like he and my grandfather both are spinning in the grave, and they're opposite sides of the coin, believe it or not. Like my grandfather's kind of insane and liked guns and drugs in the 60s, and yet somehow was politically opposite of Hunter Thompson. Can't explain that one. I think it's funny that basically we have the worst of US politics has come back. The Trump people are Nixon rebranded with Trump. And I like that, to be honest. I like that better than many other things that we could have at this point. Hillary is Hillary and the Clintons, and that's a whole thing. Like, they pretended to be kind of stupid Southern Democrats just long enough to get enough power, money, and influence to fucking own everybody. And then the third cabal is what's in power currently. That's big D Democrats, which are the last time they got to really run things, that was Jimmy Carter. Maybe Obama. You could count Obama. But that's why Obama and Biden's policies are Carter's policies. And that's why all of the shit that was happening in the fucking 70s is happening again. You know? Basically, now we're going to either elect a Ronald Reagan to come in and save us, or we're gonna fucking like throw down with some nukes and shit. And I think, honestly, no matter who gets in at this point, Russia and China are at a point with us where we're going to war. I think Russia got tired of it, and I think they might have blown up their own pipeline. And if they didn't blow up their own pipeline, we did it, and then they're definitely going to war. That pipeline blowing up is saying a lot, and I think you guys need to know that. That's why, like, having your survival helmet ready is probably a good idea. Like, I know that's a ridiculous concept or whatever, but like, there's very few things that you can get for a cheap cost that will really help you. And having lights bolted to your head in a comfortable way alone is worth having, much less all the rest of this shit. And the same thing goes with the chest rig. The Chinese chest rig, with basic, simple modifications, can hold a lot of like essential equipment. Even just like multi tools and a couple of like medical items and shit. A lighter, like all that shit is handy. Like, now I have a lighter on my helmet, so I don't need a lighter. That's half of it. Like, I'm eliminating other shit in other places. I have a Air Force issued survival fire starter in my rig. That's it's a spark light. You can look those up. It's like the sparker off of a Bic lighter with a big box of tinder. It's really lightweight and really small. And I kind of figure between that and this, that's that cover. Like, I've got a ferro rod somewhere in my purse and shit too, don't get me wrong, but I'm really trying to have stuff trim and light and multifunctional and realistic. Like, the thing I like about the spark light is that it's basically like a tinder box. You know, it has a sparker in there with it, and that does work, but it's just a tinder box. Anyway, I'm gonna do more videos about this kind of shit, as like getting your Minuteman gear ready, because I think some of it's necessary. I'm definitely going to do a video like this on chest rigs. Uh, my chest rig is nothing glamorous. During the start of COVID, I think it was, I bought that Chinese chest rig and started fucking with it and modifying it, and like, that's when I started getting back to rearming or whatever, because there for a while all I had was like a little revolver and a pump shotgun, and I didn't really care about much anything, and I was making knives, and that's all I needed. Then COVID started, and I bought that chest rig, and I bought some fucking shell carriers to put in it for the shotgun, and thus our resurrection of my tactical gear started. Honestly, I had kind of let all that go by the wayside. That wasn't really me anymore. You can go back and see old videos of gear and stuff from when I used to spend way more money on it. And that's half of why, like, my gear's so ghetto fabulous now. I got to used to, like, running cheap shit, and I kind of like it. This has been like 2 hours of this shit now. I'll see you guys later. Bye.